Dramatic reports of a skydiving plane crashing near Tullahoma, Tennessee, shaking a small community. And what is the mainstream media getting wrong about this crash? Here's what we know about the incident involving a de Havilland Twin Otter in this episode of Taking Off. Hi, I'm Dan Milliken, breaking news out of Coffee County in Tennessee. A skydiving plane crashed on June 8th, 2025 at the Tullahoma Regional Airport. A year ago, I did my first solo jump from a Twin Otter, the same kind of plane that went down. Now, let's take a look at that plane that I flew on last year and what it looks like inside. Twin turbine engines, which we'll talk about shortly, long benches with seat belts for each occupant. The door in the rear slides up. The pilot is up front. Most drop zones will operate the airplane single pilot, which is normal. Occasionally, you might have a jumper, observer, or someone learning to fly the jump plane in the right seat. Overall, a great plane, and we'll go into more details on the Twin Otter in a moment. And as we discuss this accident, I want to make sure that you're aware of the level of safety in the U.S. drop zones. The training I went through at Skydive Spaceland was incredibly in-depth, and safety was drilled into me at every turn. Overall, skydive operations in the U.S. have an excellent safety record. Okay, let's get into details of the crash and talk about what the media is reporting that they're getting wrong. On Sunday afternoon, June 8th, a de Havilland, Canada DHC-6 Twin Otter registered as November 166 Delta Hotel crashed shortly after departing Tullahoma Regional Airport in Coffee County, Tennessee, which is about 60 miles south of Nashville. The twin-engine propeller aircraft, operated as a skydiving plane, was carrying 20 passengers as confirmed by the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, when it went down near Old Shelbyville Road at approximately 12:45 p.m. local time. This is still on the airport. According to the Tennessee Highway Patrol and local media, the plane clipped trees near the airport before crashing in an open area close to the Beechcraft Museum, avoiding any damage to nearby structures, hangars, or ground facilities. Emergency responders, including Tullahoma first responders and the Tennessee Highway Patrol, were quickly on the scene, and 4 passengers were transported to hospitals. Images from the scene shared by the Tennessee Highway Patrol and reported by outlets like News Channel 5 show the aircraft with its nose crumpled, one wing snapped off, and debris strewn around, indicating a significant impact with that tree. Witnesses, including 66-year-old Terry Janiak, who lives across from the airport, noted that the cockpit area appeared severely damaged, while Sheila Stone, a 57-year-old local, reported seeing the plane fly unusually low over her home just before the crash. We know that the airplane experienced some unknown problem on takeoff. Here's the Tullahoma City Administrator, Jason Quick.
Shortly after takeoff, the plane experienced an unknown issue that resulted in the impact with both the trees and terrain.
No fatalities were reported, a remarkable outcome given the number of people on board. Tennessee Highway Patrol's Lyle Russell confirmed that 4 of the passengers sustained serious injuries, with 2 in critical condition, while others suffered minor injuries and were treated at the scene. According to Danny Bonvisuto, a representative for Vanderbilt University Hospital in Nashville, 3 of the passengers were taken via helicopter to Vanderbilt University Hospital, where they are reportedly in stable condition. 1 additional passenger with serious injuries was transported by ground, and some were later transferred for specialized care. The Tennessee Highway Patrol described the scene as active, with yellow caution tape cordoning off all the areas as the scene shifts from being an active emergency scene where they're rescuing to an investigation scene. The city of Tullahoma confirmed no ground injuries or damage to airport facilities occurred, highlighting the fortunate landing site in an open area. The response was rapid, with first responders shifting to a support role as the federal investigators arrived. From the pictures, the plane's left wing has separated from the fuselage. The nose is down, and the aft of the plane is missing as well, with the horizontal stabilizer, the rudder, the elevator missing. In a video provided by the Tennessee Highway Patrol, you can see parts of the plane, the wing, the horizontal stabilizer, having impacted a tree. The airplane has ended up spun around, facing the tree that it struck. And let's look at the geography. The airport is here. You can see runway 24, which is what appears by the data to be the runway they were using. It's right here. Runway 36 can be seen here. And this is the damaged tree. And here's where the plane came to rest. From my training for skydiving and talking to some experienced jump masters, most operations like this will have everyone seat belted with helmets on for takeoff. For an explanation of the safety protocols for jumpers, I reached out to my friend, expert Kerry McCauley, well over 20,000 jumps, who jumped with me last year to help explain. Kerry?
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, skydiving planes are some of the safest in the industry. Not only are they kept up to commercial standards with annual and 100-hour inspections, but they're also flown a lot, which is really good for airplanes. As a lot of you know, there's nothing worse for a plane to sit for long periods of time in between flights. Like the Caravan that we have at our school will go up and down 1,000 times in a season, so that's really good for them. Also, our pilots are very well trained. The minimum number of hours required to fly one of these turbine airplanes is usually about 1,000 hours. So the pilots are some of the best in the business, and skydivers are picky. They know pilots, and they won't put up with a bad pilot. And the pilot in this Tennessee crash obviously did a really good job not VMCing the plane, so that's awesome. Another thing that we have going for us is we have safety protocols in the event of an emergency. On every flight, skydivers are required to leave their seatbelts buckled and their helmets fastened until they reach 1,500 feet AGL on the climb out. Because any lower than that, it's too low for them to use their emergency parachute if there's an emergency and want to bail out. So they're going to ride the plane down, and the last thing we need is 20 skydivers trying to get their seatbelts on at the last second. So rest assured, the skydiving planes are safe. The pilots are some of the best in the business, and I've got 39 years of experience, 20,000 jumps, probably 4,000 hours of flying skydivers, and I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't think it was safe. So rest assured, next time you want to go for a skydive, you're in good hands.
Thanks, Kerry. Now, how the plane impacted the tree and why is unknown at this point, and we won't speculate, but we'll wait for the authorities to investigate. We are so glad as of this report that there are no fatalities. Okay, here's the ADS-B data, and this is where the mainstream media is getting hung up and sending out misinformation. Let's look at this from ABC News.
Flight trackers showing the 58-year-old plane circling the Tullahoma Regional Airport several times just before the crash.
Okay, first thing to notice is that the data is not consistent. A dive operation will climb to something like 14,000 feet, and we see that here. Jumpers away, and then it goes and lands, picks up the next group, and off again. The ADS-B has a big gap here if you actually drill down into the data, and here as well. So the plane went, picked up the next group, and the flight-aware data isn't one flight, it's three different flights. When the plane goes down to land, it's too low for the ADS-B trackers to pick it up. Plus, the plane typically doesn't even shut down. Even though the mainstream media is reporting that the plane flew all these circles before crashing, that's inaccurate. According to authorities, the plane suffered some kind of problem on takeoff. All right, moving on. One good thing about dive operations is that they traditionally take place close to the airport, so the plane generally will have somewhere to go in an emergency. The aircraft, a de Havilland DHC-6 Twin Otter, is registered to Skydive Tennessee LLC based in Tullahoma, according to FAA records. It was manufactured in 1967. This aircraft is a workhorse of the skydiving industry, known for its reliability and ability to carry large groups of jumpers. Its robust design and short takeoff and landing capabilities make it ideal for operations from smaller airports like Tullahoma Regional. The plane's maintenance records will be examined as part of the investigation, given its age and the demanding nature of skydive operations, which involve frequent ascents and descents. The FAA and the National Transportation Safety Board, the NTSB, are investigating, and they're going to examine factors such as the pilot experience, the weather conditions, among other points of interest. The weather was pleasant enough, with the airport reporting winds from the west at 10 knots, gusting to 17, with over 10 miles of visibility, and clouds scattered to broken between 3,400 to 4,500 feet, and temperatures around 27 degrees Celsius at the time of the crash. A preliminary report is expected within weeks, but a full investigation could take months. When there's fatalities, the NTSB might take over a year, but when there's not fatalities, the final report comes out usually a little faster. The de Havilland DHC-6 Twin Otter is a twin-engine, short takeoff and landing aircraft developed in the 60s by de Havilland, Canada. It is powered by two Pratt & Whitney Canada PT6A series turboprop engines, and according to the aircraft registration data, was indeed the engine type on the aircraft. Now, the PT6 is a solid, dependable turbine engine, one of the most common aircraft engines in use all over the world. The aircraft is normally equipped with either the PT6A-20, producing around 550 horsepower, or the PT6A-27, capable of up to 680 horsepower. The exact model installed on November 166 Delta Hotel at the time of the crash will be an important part of the investigation, as engine performance or failure may be relevant. And also, a word about twin-engine operation to the non-pilots out there. If a twin-engine airplane loses an engine, there will be a large amount of asymmetrical thrust and drag. And the biggest part of training for your multi-engine certification is drilling what to do when an engine goes out, because you can sometimes have just seconds to correct before the plane starts to roll. And if you're really low and you roll, it's usually fatal. It's called a VMC roll, and fortunately does not look like that was what happened here. That if there was indeed an engine problem, it looks like the pilot handled it without inducing a roll. The Twin Otter's design allows it to carry 20 passengers in a spacious cabin, cruises at 150 to 170 knots, and has a range of about 800 nautical miles, making it, again, ideal for these short, repetitive skydiving flights from small airports. The investigation is ongoing, with the NTSB leading, supported by the FAA, to examine all the aspects, including the pilot's qualifications and the aircraft's maintenance history. No official statement has been released about the pilot or the cause. Skydive Tennessee LLC has not issued a public statement, but the focus remains on supporting the injured and their families. The skydiving community and the local residents are shaken, with social media posts reflecting concern and relief at the lack of fatalities. The crash's proximity to the airport and the visual damage to the aircraft underscore the severity of the incident and what could have happened. So thank goodness that there were no fatalities. And from personal experience, the skydiving community is extremely tight. There are safety protocols at every level, like seatbelts for every passenger. And by the fact that everyone survived, it's a great outcome for these safety protocols. And as the investigation unfolds, the aviation community will be watching closely to understand what happened and how to continue to ensure safety for skydivers and communities near small airports like Tullahoma Regional. Thanks for watching, and thanks to our sponsors like FlyingEyesOptics.com. These glasses and sunglasses have the lightest, thinnest frames for under helmets and headsets. And if you go to FlyingEyesOptics.com, use our discount code, taking off, all caps, one word, you'll get 10% off. You can find them and our other sponsors in the description below. Also, check out our sister channel, for all of the hardcore aviation fans. It's called In the Hangar. And if you want to see another recent report that we've done, check this one out right here. Remember, superior judgment trumps superior skills. Take care.